Here in this last video on my channel, I attempted to proffer a little evidence for the pinball moon. Sorry for the audio quality on the pinball portion of the song there. Anytime I attempt a little humor, it always tends to backfire. Anyhow, science proves how far away the moon is, as long as we all trust those Freemasons really landed there and placed those laser reflectors like they claim. So again, we've got an appeal to authority fallacy in order to believe these distances. And the very fact that they created the distances and the model prior to the real scientific breakthrough of the telescope, and then those folks still wanting to cling to that mindset will claim, well, the math works. Well, the math predates the observable science that would correlate it. So you have a problem there if it goes back to the Jesuit doctrine of learning versus learning. But on that, we've outlined earlier in this playlist, so I won't go back over it. Anyhow, in that video, I just showed you a little clip here from a Alaska Airlines flight, and this opaque orb, if you will, for lack of a better description, I believe there would be 6 because that's in line with the research I've done with regard to the ancient Chaldean astronomers who actually are credited for dating the earliest eclipses back to around 763 BC, according to Ptolemy. That's the earliest records, okay, in stone of eclipses and their iteration or Saros cycle, if you will. Anyhow, we've outlined that earlier in this playlist. But for anyone tumbling down this rabbit hole, prove all things on my channel, and you're binge watching, I just wanted to go over the research that may not be clearly outlined. But 6 opaque orbs were in the astrolabes of the ancient Chaldean astronomers. And as I'll hope to note in a future video, Lord willing, we have here in Denver, the eclipse path was opposite from my vantage point. And I'll try to show you that upcoming. But I believe I should lay a series of groundwork videos first in this playlist before we get to that video. So that's what I'm working on. Anyhow, enjoy. All right, you all know my channel. I enjoy exposing the pseudoscientific worldview that we're all accustomed to claiming is reality and anyone else is an idiot, but yet we can totally ignore the fact that we have contradictions. Straight light proves it's a ball, but when you contact the ball, then we have to have divergent light rays in order to create the matching observation of the changing. Instead of it being a light like the Bible says, we've got to evoke all this stuff. But then that's where observation should match reality, and it does not. For example, when it starts turning red, it's never as it should be. Its angle to the horizon doesn't ever match what you observe. Anyhow, I want to go back over our pseudoscientific worldview and get it straight from the horse's mouth so that we can break it down and show how it is a lie and a deception. Because as we know, all truth is congruent, only lies are contradictory, and that's how we know them from the truth. So if we type in here, what year had 7 solar eclipses, we learn it's 1982, right? Okay, so if what this old hillbilly's telling you has any merit, And you can use your trusted sources like over here at the Naval Observatory to get your moon data. I'm the one that's telling you they're manipulating us with a 3-card Monte system, more or less, called a moon, sun, and earth ball. And the prime mover in that 3-card Monte is the moon. So in order for their plane trig to work, that they're zigzagging, diverging sunlight. Remember, they tell you it's straight, but for their math to work to explain away the eclipse shadows and their diameters on the ground, they have to evoke this. So they have to move the distance of the moon in and out. U.S. Navy.mil. Go do this yourself. January 1st. And what do we have? You go out to 405. January 19th. And then we shoot right back up to 403, right? Well, now we're up here. See this? So I would imagine there's got to be an eclipse around here for it to go that quick from a very short distance from Earth to a maximum distance. And then you see how it jumps around? Seems very smart. And they've got it kind of paused there. Problem is, you shouldn't see just one side because it's not a circular path. It can't be a donut shape if it's in and out. That dog don't hunt. And the old hillbilly will tell you that don't match their data. That doesn't match this. So these are contradictions that expose the lie. Then you come over here. You ask another little Google question. What month had 3 eclipses? Well, that's rare again too, but yeah, look, we had one 2020, June 6th. We're going to have another in 2029. All these very rare and hard to happen things are happening quite frequently here of recent time, folks, just so you know.
Now, I've had a couple of people who've commented saying that apparently I'm the best flat earth debunker at the moment, and whilst that is very flattering, I do have to disagree with it. I would actually argue that one of the best debunkers of flat earth is in fact a flat earther.
Because he deleted my reply. He's yet to delete this one. Truth doesn't fear investigation, non-3D Dave. The non-3D Dave comment got deleted. I'm not shocked. Another smart Ball Earth shield deleting comments. They can't defend these lies, folks. It doesn't match observation. Any curveballer out there, please, let's not just poo-poo and overlook observational data that belies your model. Please explain it away if you can. I know you can't. That's why you have to ignore it and delete it. And any reference to it, just destroy it. It's kryptonite to your ball earth madness because you can't observe this situation here at 250,000 miles out in space and this be what you observe. And then you try to match it to your fake ball earth umbra canumbra abracadabra shadow over here, and one side matches observation, but the other one is far from it. Not to mention over here on the wrong hemisphere of the umbra shadow for Johannesburg versus Perth. They should both be on the bottom side, even though it's dead center on the ecliptic plane. The animation claims Johannesburg, you were facing east, and on the right, Perth was facing west, so it was in between. But the images are not a mirror image, which they should be if the geometry were correct. clown earther shill over here can't defend comments made about the flat earth that refer to real science, as I stated here. Real science is repeatable observations. I would love to go back to believing ball earth lie, so please explain the observation doesn't match the ball earth geometry in this little 5-minute clip from this video. Thanks in advance, curveballers. I'm either going to get crickets or a reply or lots of laughs. So here's his reply. He addresses the first point himself, referring to me, but fathom that Perth and Johannesburg are almost on the opposite parts of the globe, one seen at sunrise, one at sunset. And then here's my reply. Let me make it simple. Go to the 13:15 mark and pause the video. Johannesburg top left, Perth at the top right. Both are paused. 1 minute, within 1 minute of each other, all through, both south of the equator, as you point out earlier in your comment, opposite sides of ball Earth to each other. Why don't we observe mirror images like we would expect to if Earth were a ball? According to the NASA model seen at the 1449 mark, one was on the northern hemisphere of the umbra, while Perth is seen on the southern part of the umbra. So one on the northern side of the ecliptic plane, which is the dashed line, and Perth, which is right there on the southern side of the ecliptic plane. They should both be on the same side of the ecliptic plane, people. This was the longest lunar eclipse path of the century, passing right through the center, right on the ecliptic plane. So when they can't defend their comments, see, look at the time, 3:50 p.m., bottom right-hand corner. They can't defeat them, they delete them. The model showed the moon passing through the umbra dead center from east to west. Seems you like to project onto others your inability to think in 3D, Dave. Yet they tell us when it's a macro and micro moon, it's up to 14% larger or smaller. I don't notice that every other month, which I must if it's doing what they claim. Now, they all tell us the story of Eratosthenes. I've said it in earlier parts in this series or playlist, Prove All Things. But as you can see, when they need it to be straight, it's straight and uniform. For their model to work, you would need a sun that is so much vastly bigger than the moon. Problem is, optically, they look the same during a total solar eclipse. But you can see here, with their own diagram, it must be vastly bigger. But you don't see that. Okay, look here. In order to explain the umbra penumbra abracadabra, I call it shadow, for all the eclipses that we see, the annular eclipse, the partial eclipse, and the total eclipse, they have to evoke this penumbra, umbra situation, which again would dictate the sun be vastly bigger than the moon, which would mean that they're showing you a false depiction of what would have to occur. Because they have to. For this to be right, the sun has to be vastly bigger than the moon, or you would never get the umbra penumbra shadow. And they show it to you in picture format. See what would appear if it was a flashlight and a basketball in between your head, aka the earth. This is what the observer would view, just the ball. You would never know what was behind it. Luminous flashlight, be anything. Now they tell you you're seeing at the bottom of the light here what you could see, but see how much bigger the shadow is? See, there's very little in the way of a umbra situation. That diagram. So of course, when they show you this, they try to say you see that, but you really wouldn't if the the sun or light ball here was this much bigger than the moon or basket. Okay. They show you a false depiction of what you really observe. Because no one questions any of this, we just go along to get along.
Mass doesn't attract mass. Algebra breaks new. Now always won't even mention Newton's law of gravitation. When we come around, faking that gravity makes them cling to Masonic balls. With no progress made, and can we always predict them? The very next day, they'll be just the same. Go and reset. Still faking it. So faking it. Forever faking it. Faking it. They love how much they're faking it.
But an experiment is not a public opinion poll. It examines behavior under the pressure of social forces, as the experiment of Solomon Asch reveals.
The experiment you'll be taking part in today involves the perception of lengths of lines. As you can see here, I have a number of cards, and on each card there are several lines. Your task is a very simple one. You're to look at the line on the left and determine which of the three lines on the right is equal to it in length. All right, we'll proceed in this order. You'll give your answer.
Only one of the people in the group is a real subject, the fifth person with the white t-shirt. The others are confederates of the experimenter and have been told to give wrong answers on some of the trials. The experiment begins uneventfully as subjects give their judgments.
2,
2,
2,
2,
2, 3,
3,
3,
3.
But on the third trial, something happens.
2,
2,
2,
2,
2.
The subject denies the evidence of his own eyes and yields to group influence.
1,
Asch found subjects went along with the group on 37% of the critical trials. But he found through interviews that they went along with the group for different reasons.
1.
1.
They must be right. There are 4 of them and 1 of me.
1,
This subject's yielding is based on a distortion of his judgment. He genuinely believes that the group is correct.
1.
1,
1.
2,
1. 2.
2,
2.
I know they're wrong, but why should I make waves?
2,
In this case, the subject knows he is right, but goes along to avoid the discomfort of disagreeing
Two.
with the group. Here, the distortion is at the level of his response.
2. 2.
2,
2.
In the previous experiment, the naive subject stood alone against the group. In this variation, Asch gave the naive subject a partner, here seated in the third position, who also gives the correct response.
1. 1. 2. 1.
2,
With a partner, yielding drops to only 5% of the critical trials compared to 37% without a partner. Although subjects report warmth and good feeling toward the partner, they typically deny that he played a role in their own independence. The partnership variation shows that much of the power of the group came not merely from its numbers, but from the unanimity of its opposition. When that unanimity is punctured, the group's power is greatly reduced. Sometimes we go along with a group because what they say convinces us they are right. This is called informational conformity. But sometimes we conform because we are apprehensive that the group will disapprove if we are deviant. This is called normative conformity. The strength of the normative factor is shown in another variation carried out by Asch. In this variation, the subject is told that because he had arrived late, he would have to write his answers. Subjects in this private response experiment are exposed to the same amount of misleading information as other subjects, but they are immune from any possible criticism by the group.
1,
1.
1,
And this enormously reduces the pressure to conform. Conformity drops by 2/3. Asch's experiment is a classic. It reveals how people will deny what they see and submit to group pressure. It allows us not only to observe conformity, but to study the conditions that increase or reduce its occurrence.
So What is a maptard? Why don't we ask our favorite resident fake Greek Cryptosthenes?
A brave, albeit confused soul who believes that map projections of the same geographic graticule of longitude/latitude actually constitute good arguments against flat Earth. They wield their misunderstandings of cartography like a sword, ready to battle anyone who dares mention the word flat in the same sentence as Earth. Despite being bombarded with evidence, peer-reviewed studies, map projection models, papers, explanations, videos, diagrams, and the occasional exasperated sigh from other smarter globers, they remain steadfast in their quest. Like a knight with a trusty atlas, they charge into every debate with the zeal of someone who's just discovered Google Earth and wants to show it off at every opportunity. Their abysmal understanding of the spherical framework of longitude and latitude, clearly unaware of the calculations having nothing to do with physical shape of the Earth. And let's be honest, actual flat Earth arguments are not even on their radar. They're so busy scrutinizing latitude and longitude grids that they wouldn't notice if a flat Earth theory danced right in front of them wearing a tutu and singing, "It's a small world." In summary, the maptard is the unsung hero of the flat Earth debate, fighting valiantly in a battle no one else is even engaging in, armed with nothing but their lack of wits, a healthy sense of social conformity, and a globe they keep forgetting to spin.
Now these anti-flat earth groupies need to be ignored. You start from your protection. Fast spreading across the plain like wildfire. But most folks leave the obvious. It's like they're in denial. They think it's too stupid. So insane, even ponder. Ignoring the truth. Movies won't even mention Newton's law of gravitation when we come around. Faking gay, gravity makes them think gay. Just like their space pick, so faking it. Clovers don't bother learn, like their verifications. Call it the global reset. Still faking gay, so faking gay. There's so many conflations. Faking gay, so faking gay. Forever faking gay. Faking gay. They love how much they're faking gay. Just like their space pics. So faking gay. And like their reifications. All faking gay. So many conflations.